Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 news anchors you won't believe exist. Because TV news has a reputation for being boring, this can sometimes mean people think news anchors are boring too. But this list shows some news anchors that will make you laugh, cry, and do a whole bunch of other things. And I'm even going to show you some clips of what made these anchors worthy of a spot on this list, so stay tuned. But first, why not subscribe and press the bell button too? Coming in at number 10, we have Chicken Run. This news report is coming from Australia and involves an animal, but it's not something like a giant spider or a kangaroo. No, instead, the troublemaker in this news report is a chicken. One news reporter was doing a report on a chicken show happening in Sydney, Australia. He thought it would be more interesting if he held one of the chickens while reporting on the story, but as he's reporting live on air, he startles the bird, causing it to flap wildly in his hands. He doesn't exactly recover gracefully and instead runs away screaming like a madman. Some thought this was a joke at first, but the reporter later confirmed he just really doesn't like chickens.
Big black Australorp cockerel, one of 500 birds that are being judged today at the show.
Yeah, I think I'll stick to chicken in a bucket instead of alive in my hands. Next up is Bugging Out. This news report happened 9 years ago, but despite it being a little old, it went viral and boosted the news reporter to online fame. Back in 2008, a news reporter for News 4 was doing a very serious report on an unsolved passing of a high school student. But as he's wrapping up his report, a bug flies directly into his mouth. This causes him to go on a verbal rampage, ranting and raving about the country town he was in. And he also gets very angry about the pollen, which keeps going in his eye, causing him to cry. He made a noise that sounded like Donald Duck when the fly entered his mouth. And then he changed from a calm and collected person to someone who loves to rant. This man's been nicknamed Ghetto News Reporter online, and many people find this clip absolutely hilarious. If this guy shows us anything, it's that underneath all that makeup and expensive suits, newscasters are just regular angry people like you and I deep down. Next up is McNews. We've already seen 2 news reporter fails, but you could argue it wasn't their fault, it was the bug and the chicken's fault. Bug, chicken, you're fired. But in this instance, the news reporter is almost 100% to blame. On one Fox News broadcast, a female reporter in the studio announced they were going to Jimmy for a traffic report. But instead of cutting to Jimmy reporting on traffic, we see Jimmy sitting in a McDonald's drive-in. You might think he'd be embarrassed or apologetic getting caught at McDonald's, but instead he goes on to say he's been in the car since 4 AM. He then proceeds to make a very complicated order while the woman in the studio is literally speechless. Jimmy even says, "Don't tell my boss I did this," but seeing as this clip went viral, I don't think that'll do much good. Here's the clip.
Air from Pennsylvania, now down through Towson. Hi, Jimmy. What's the latest?
Hello. Please hold forward to the next speaker.
Hey, is it too early to get a fish sandwich? Go on.
All right.
Second time.
I told you we were coming to you.
Next up is Susana Almeida. In the USA, we have news reporters like Anderson Cooper and Bill O'Reilly. Well, not Bill O'Reilly anymore, but you get what I mean. However, if you head over to Mexico, you get news reporters like Susana Almeida. The reason why this woman made it onto the list is because despite being in Mexico, she went viral all over the world back in 2016. This was because she was called the hottest news reporter in the world. She already has tens of thousands of followers on her Instagram. But in late 2016, she had a serious wardrobe malfunction that I can't even show on here. Anyway, suffice to say that made her go viral again, and now she has almost 100,000 followers. They say the camera adds £10, but Susana looks great in every broadcast. And I bet some people aren't really interested in the news and simply watch it for Susana. Some criticize her for wearing too much makeup and wearing stylish clothing, but the viewers love it. Do you think that Susana's beauty takes away from actual news, or do you support Susana? Looking at her mega fans on Instagram, it's safe to say that most people in Mexico and many other countries like Susana just the way she is. Next up is hair and makeup. Hair and makeup is often overlooked, but it's an essential part of any news broadcast. And some people even make jokes about how much news anchors obsess over looking the part. However, this is usually all done behind the scenes. But in 2015, during a morning news broadcast, one news reporter thought she wasn't live for a few more minutes. She had her handbag on the news desk and began brushing her hair. Somebody then told her in her earpiece that she was live on air and she had to do the news report with her handbag still on the desk. The reporter named Carol Walker looked very embarrassed when she realized she'd been styling her hair live on TV at one of the busiest news-watching times. But don't worry, Carol was not fired for this and is still a very respected BBC News anchor. But even if she was fired, on the bright side, at least her hair's looking great. Here's the clip.
This is BBC News. I'm Carol Walker. The headlines at 9. The government starts selling off its stake in...
Next up is bats. We've already seen animals mess up live news reports on this list. but these were on location, not actually in the studio. Well, during one broadcast from ABC 6 News, a bat actually entered the studio where the news was being filmed live. Unsurprisingly, the anchors all freaked out, which led to the viewers at home laughing their heads off. News anchors have to deal with a lot of annoying things like prank calls and people sabotaging their reports. But one thing they don't see every day is bats flying overhead scaring them. I'm not sure if ABC6 News is filmed in an underground cave or something, but it looks like they need to get pest control in there. Apparently the open environment of the studio makes it very easy for bats to enter, and this isn't the first time a bat's come in. However, this was the first time a bat's actually invaded a broadcast. Here is the hilarious clip.
Did you see Okay, there it is again. The bat caused chaos as we kicked off the 6 o'clock hour of Good Morning Tennessee.
Out of nowhere.
Next up is Locked Out. We've already seen one news reporter who made a big mistake when it came to reporting from a car, but at least the McDonald's guy was inside his car when the cameras cut to him. During a WUSA 9 broadcast, reporter Scott Broom got locked out of his car that they call the mobile newsroom. Yeah, not so mobile anymore. He got out of the car to get the frost off the windows, but was then locked out and had to report through a window. The desperate reporter was seen outside his car shouting for help while the news anchor sent a guy with a key to rescue him. But a little while later, a cop showed up with a wrench and popped open the car door. Scott, and probably the viewers too, celebrated as he was finally no longer locked outside in the freezing cold. It really looks like cars and news reporting aren't a good mix. Here's the clip.
Help! Oh, this is so bad. Help!
But he's for real locked out, and the car is running right now.
And Patrick, oh John, comes Patrick, hang on, he's getting it. Wait. Oh! Whoa!
Next up is Suspect. You know in movies when a wanted criminal enters a store and sees their own wanted photo on the wall? Well, this is pretty much the real life equivalent to that, except it happened to a news anchor live on air. This happened back in the 90s, but it's so hilarious I had to include it on this list. One reporter was reporting on a robbery in the local area. As you know, to try and catch the robber or any other criminal for that matter, the news includes a police sketch. However, in this unfortunate news report, the sketch just so happened to look exactly like the man reporting the crime. And believe it or not, this is not the only time this has happened. Once before, a reporter was showing a different police sketch and it looked exactly like him. I don't know what the producers were thinking when they picked these anchors to do these stories. Well, maybe they thought it would go viral and make them get better ratings. That is pure evil genius. Next up is Weather Boy. In 2017, this piece of footage from Fox 5 News went viral. A reporter was doing a story on fireworks for the 4th of July. He saw a kid who happened to be standing outside of the fireworks store and asked him what's the best kind of firework to buy. And then the kid responds, "Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?" The news anchor gets seriously annoyed and says, "Where are your parents?" He then calls the kid sketchy to the people back at the studio who are laughing it up. Is it just me, or does this kid sound like every bully in a kid's movie ever? Funny thing about this video is it's so random to have a kid standing out there doing nothing. Just the look on the reporter's face alone is enough to make you laugh out loud. So without further ado, here's the clip.
And then the 4th of July. Here's an actual customer out here. What's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
Where are your parents? Kid's sketchy. Back to you guys.
Next up is Grape Stomping. This is one of the most viral news reporting clips of all time. It's been viewed millions of times and has even been recreated on Family Guy. A news reporter for Fox 5 is stomping on grapes at a vineyard and has a stomping competition with the vineyard owner. They begin stomping the grapes when all of a sudden the news reporter tries to cheat by shouting "stop." But this backfires as she falls over the decking. She then starts moaning and creating a very awkward situation. But the funniest thing about this is the news anchors in the studio who say, "Oh, we'll have to send somebody to check on her." I'm just surprised and kind of impressed they stopped themselves laughing at this. If you think I'm being mean, just watch this clip and get ready to laugh it up.
Come and spend the day listening to live music, eating international foods, having wine tours and tastings, vineyard tours, seminars, arts and crafts. It's a lot of fun, a whole day. Stop. Oh, 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 I can't, ow, 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 oh, stop, oh, stop, oh, 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 I can't breathe, stop,
Oh, no, oh,
boy,
dear.
I think she's actually hurt.
No,
there.
I think she is.
Yeah, she's
Ouch.
hurt. She took a hard fall off there. Boy,
Okay.
gosh, I hope she's okay.
Okay, we're going to make sure she is.
We'll try and
Gus
check
is
on
there.
her and get back
All
to
right.
you as soon as we can.
We'll be back right after this.
Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for your favorite news anchor on this list. And guys, definitely head over to my new channel, The Crafty, and subscribe. There'll be a crafty video coming up on screen in a second, so be sure to click it and check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.